Kara, and today I am going to show you how to spin on a spindle. So what I do is go to the craft store and I buy dowels. You can get a packet at like a dollar store for $1. They're just wooden dowels, different sizes, and I cut a notch in it. There you go, like a tooth in it. And I just use like a butter knife or a steak knife, a serrated edge to make the tooth. Anything bigger will just crack the dowel. So I cut that out of, and you can see it can kind of be any kind of tooth. It doesn't have to be pretty. I cut a tooth and then this becomes my spindle. Now, I've used a drop spindle before, and a wheel. I've just ordered a wheel. I've ordered a Charkha wheel, so I'll put a link somewhere, probably down there, to the Charkha wheel, which is one where you turn a crank. You have your fleece in one hand and you turn a crank, and that's how you do your spinning. Drop spindles are great, but I like using just a spindle. Sorry for the loud vehicles. There's just a street there. I like using a spindle because I can change up how I use it. So I generally roll it on my leg when I use it, but if I get tired, then I can switch hands and I roll it on the other leg. I have to change directions though, and this one's a little harder. But I roll it on my leg or on the chest. It's kind of good when you've got a long chest. You can roll it like that, and that just changes the motion of your wrists. If you have issues with your joints, I find that's good for repetitive movements if I can change it up when it starts to hurt. I'm sorry, that looks ridiculous, but it works for me. So what we're doing is we're going to take some fleece, raw fleece. This is some of the stuff that I carded in my last video and I've pulled into drafts. So we take some of the raw fleece, we put it on the spindle. It looks like this after we've spun it. This is a nice fat spindle. I find any kind of spindle works really, but a fatter spindle warps less. A thinner spindle will warp somewhat quickly. So that's why I use a fatter spindle. But I'm going to spin on these, it's fine. They're fine. And even when they warp, they're still fine. So we'll have it go from the fleece to the spindle like this. And they'll go through a process which is like worsting, essentially. So I'll put it on a thing called a noddy, which is just a frame. You can use anything for a noddy. You can use a tin pan. Well, maybe not aluminum, but like just a cooking pan if you have nothing else for a noddy. You know, you can be a purist and get one. They're nice too. Nice handmade noddy is a beautiful thing. But I'll use almost anything as a noddy. And what you do is you wrap your wool around the noddy and soak it in a bath of hot water for 20 minutes-ish. I usually wait till the water gets a bit cool. Then you pull it out and you'll give it a spanking and hang it to dry. And I'll show you that later. First I'm going to show you the spinning bits. So when that's done, then you get this. And this is what I end up with, which is a little skein of hand-spun wool. I don't do large batches. They're more for, art projects, I guess. I do it more for the joy of it. This one is a medium light weight. Is it a 2-ply? think it is. It's a 2-ply. And yeah, 2-ply, medium light. So it's got 2 very small threads that I've spun together. And I weigh them usually when they're dry. So this is a 12-gram skein of wool. And with that now, I can take that and toss it in a dye pot. And if I want to boil it at this point, I can, because it's already felted together. It's what it is now. It's not going anywhere. So I might do that. Anyways, I will show you dyeing. And I'll put on a dye pot. After I get all of this spun, I'll put on a couple dye pots and show you how it's done. All right, let's go. Let's start spinning. So what we do is we get a draft. Let's get a good long one here. Like so. There you've got your draft. So that's just a piece of carded wool that's been pulled out long and thin. And what I do with this is real simple. I just twirl it around my finger a bit. Like that, because that's all spinning is, really. You could do the whole thing like this if you had the patience and the dexterity. So when you've got that, I tie in a little loop, you know, like a slip knot, like that, right? So that can be pulled, right? You know how that works. And then take my it's like early summer in St. John's, and people lose their minds here in the summer. They really do. We get such short summers, and you know, it's only 18 degrees, but the guys are out with their shirts on. I should put that down. We'll wait till this passes. But it's brilliant. I'm sorry. I know that it comes across as obnoxious, but I love it. Let's go back to what I was doing. I was twirling it around my finger, essentially, right? And then making it into a slip knot, like this. Imagine if they were playing slip knot. That would have been obnoxious. And then I essentially do what you do with any sort of knitting, or the idea of casting on, almost, is what I'm doing with this. So I'm making another slip knot in it, and then I'm putting the wool over that slip knot, and then I'll pull it tight because I've twisted it a bunch so it's got some strength. Right? Sorry, itchy nose, I apologize. And then holding the string, the fleece, give it a little bit of space, I roll it. Real simple. Real simple. So I roll it up good. Got lots of coils there. And then, right, so I've got my coils in it. You see that? Then this is how I do it. I tuck it under my arm and I pull my finger back. And all those coils release, spinning this bit of wool. Right? Real simple. I'll show you again. So, got my draft on there, and I'm just rolling on my leg like that. Or I can roll it on my boob like that. The coils up, right, as you would, and then I'm just pulling my fingers back I'm releasing the coil up into the rest of the wool. And that's a single ply bit of yarn right there that I've made. So I'll keep going. So the longer you're holding your yarn, the more you'll want to coil it, right? So it's coiled, you see. Just knots back on itself when I do that. And then I release it up the strand of wool. And you can do that till your coils all sort of drop out. Now, when you get a certain amount like that, then I just roll it on to my stick. I'm sure the neighbors think I'm crazy when they see me out here doing this. And look at myself. Is that something on my face or a shadow? So I just wrap it around my stick, right? Like that. And then I make another slip knot, kind of, or like a hitch. And let's do it closer, right? So just a hitch over my finger, right? A loop that I can, let's push the previous slip knot that's in the, hooked under the tooth there. I push that down, right? And then I slip my wool over the top again and bring it up under the hook. And then back to rolling. So I've got it coiled and I'm releasing. So let's see if I can get it close enough for it to work. So I don't know if that works for you, if you can see it well. But then I've got this long strand of wool. And there's my draft, what was left of it there. I'll sleeve that like that so I can add more onto it. So I'm going to pull it off again. I find this is the best way to do it. Under my elbow, or armpit, I mean. And roll it on. Back under the armpit, make them loop, slip them loop over the end. And I'm back to this point. Now, this is where I take more. Did it blow away? No. I've tucked it in then, I assume. Oh, did it blow away? Flail. I don't see it on the ground, so I must just not be looking. Surprise, surprise. So let's pull another draft. Now, you can do this as you go, like you can take your roll leg that you've made, right? And I made these are awful roll legs. In the future, I'll just take them off and roll them because I'm not good at it. I tried to be fancy and show off, and I stick to what you know. Try to grow. But what works, use it. Don't take that advice. Live wildly. So, remember I was pulling my drafts. So when I had my roll leg done, I was pulling it out like so. Right? So I could just do it like that and have my roll leg like this and just work off the roll leg. So what I'm doing, I'm taking the end of this draft and loosening it a bit. I'm taking the beginning of this one and I'm popping it in together, side by side. And I give them a little pull so they're not as big. And then Second verse, same as the first. You do the same thing. You're rolling it on your leg, and you're letting it pull out. Just separated it from my roll leg, so I'm going to grab that, because it's almost too windy to work from a roll leg. But you get the drift. You would work down your roll leg, down your draft to your roll leg, pull some more out. Work down to that, pull some more out. Maybe we'll try it again. So I'm just putting these fibers together, and I'm allowing them to get sandwiched together, and then I'm rolling again. Right? Pull my fingers out. And that's been pulled too thin, so I'm going to break that off. Not happy with that. It's also got that. These are most likely, they're the ends that have not been worked in together. So I'm going to pull them out like that. I'm back to this. Let's grab a good strong draft. Fix that. Working in the wind isn't easy. So I'm going to loosen these ones on the end. And I'm going to sandwich this sort of in there in the draft. This is normal, lovely, windy St. John's. And I'm going to go back and there's my thing, it slipped down. Right? Pinch this further down so I don't get the long ends. And then roll. The longer you roll it, the longer you can pull your draft. Right? So it's a bit thin. I'm pushing this fiber back, so you can tell by your fingertips can sense a lot. So if it feels like it's getting thin, it is. Believe it. Stop. Make it a bit thicker. Go back to it. This bit under here. Armpits are great, aren't they? Pull it out. And loosen it on this side. And go down. Alright. So, I'll sit here. I'm going to go in like high speed. It'll look like I'm doing it very quickly, and I'll edit out my struggles. But, yeah. It takes a bit of work, some patience. Keep trying if it's something you want to do. Make it work for you. What I'm doing here is making wool. It mightn't be perfect wool. It might be a bit messy, or have a bit of grass in it, or seeds, but it's wool, and it works as wool, and it's strong, and it'll last if you take care of it forever. So, you know, you're not doing it wrong. I guess that's what I'm saying. You can't make mistakes. Just keep learning how to do it. in the best way that works for you. Put on some tunes. Sometimes you have a break. You've been spinning away, it looks half decent, you get a break. I fix a break the same way that you I fix a break the same way you fix broken wool when you're knitting, with like a box knot. So there's a box knot in it. And keep going. Usually by the time you've soaked it and spun it and worsted it and felted it, that little knot won't mean anything. I'm going to show you as well, once you get to a certain point and you get a certain amount wrapped around and it's kind of thick, wrapped around like that, then you can start, when you rolling it on your spindle, just wrapping it long ways and twisting it. And this keeps it from sort of getting felted deep inside, which isn't, it happens sometimes, but it's not, you can fix it easily, but this way just makes it so you don't have to fix it. All right, back to spinning. So when you're finished spinning, I can put a lot more on there, and I will, but I'm going to stop for a bit because my kid will be home from school soon. So when you're done, you can just take your bit and wrap it around, and then just tuck it in on itself, just like that. Just like that. Just tuck it through itself. Pull it tight, and it's ready for when you're ready to go again. Okay, so stay tuned. I will be soaking my wool in the next vid to swell it up and help knit the fibers together, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, thanks for watching.